It ain't no game, but they saying welcome to the second level. Second level gaming. Second level.
What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 14 of the official Level 2 podcast. I'm your host, Keegan Vi. I'm one half of Level 2 Gamers. Across the table from me, as always, is Tom Miles, the other half of the Level 2 Gamers. How you doing today, Tom?
I'm okay.
You're okay? It's been a long day. We're actually recording this at the end of our recording session.
We rarely do that as well.
We had a lot of VRs, and we kind of wanted to not go into VR with... I don't know why we did VR first.
I think it was just because it's easier.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we have to like put all this settle this shit up and then move it all for VR, and
bring it back.
we were just kind of like wanting to get it done because we were way behind on our VR recording.
Yeah,
so we got 3 done.
We were off last. Yeah, we were off last week because you had some work things to do. So it's been 2 weeks since we've seen each other. Well, 2 weeks since we've seen each other in your basement, I guess. I've seen you at work,
which I'm instantly regretting. Due to the lovely present that you left me before we started this podcast.
I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I know what you're talking about.
I cannot confirm nor deny Keegan's flatulence. All right. So,
but anyways, the last couple of weeks has been an interesting thing. Let's start with.
Hasn't it been fucking weird?
Let's start with first thing. Let's go chronological order. The Switch was announced.
What order?
Chronological.
Okay.
That's time.
I thought you went chronological. I didn't think that was an actual word that you said.
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
Switch was announced. Release date games. We're gonna get a little bit. That'll be part of the bonus level today.
With the weirdest fucking conference in the history of conferences.
We'll get into that. Second thing is we had inauguration of a president that is very controversial.
No one likes.
Very controversial. Well, there are people that like him.
A third of the country.
There's still people that like him.
Okay.
It's very controversial. And then we had a giant walk of women all over the world, which I'm making a video of that. Hopefully, when you hear this, will be going up on Friday.
Right.
That's my goal. I was working with some people getting some photos. I waited last night. I got the last set of them, so I'm finishing some stuff up. I sent you an couple early cuts of it, and
I liked it.
Yeah, it was one of those things where that kind of inspired me to do something. I was like, you know what, this is it. You'll see in the video, but it was just one of those moments where this is a moment in history that's gonna make something happen, whether it's something's gonna move forward or not. This is a moment.
It was the largest gathering of people for a mass protest in history.
Yes,
so that's a good start.
And then yesterday,
yeah.
Do you know what happened yesterday? You're probably not going to guess what I'm going to say.
No, probably not.
The NASCAR Monster Truck Cup Series, whatever the hell they're called now, Monster Energy Series, changed their point system. So now I'm confused as hell on how NASCAR makes points.
That sounds like something I care very little
They're doing
about.
3 segments. You get points if you win the first segment, but then you have segment 2, you get points. But if you finish top 10, you get points. But if you finish outside, you don't get points. It's really confusing. Some guy put it real simple in one of the forums. He goes, there's 3 segments in a race. You finish top 10 of segment 1, you get X amount of points. Finish top 2, you get X amount of points. Finish the end of the race, you get X amount of points. He goes, this isn't fucking golf, though. There's no breaks. There's a 5-minute break during each segment, so you can interview the drivers and all
It sounds like Mario Kart.
Yeah, it is. It's stupid, but I'm not going to go into that. But NASCAR,
to the Mushroom Kingdom.
I'm an avid NASCAR fan, as you know, but they got a new title sponsor, Monster Energy.
Who does that? Who just changes up the point system of a game?
They do it all the time.
Really?
They've done it now. This is the 7th point change.
I read something, and I don't know how true this is. I thought you might find this interesting. I don't know how true it is, so take it with a pinch of salt. But I read somewhere that they were considering shortening the length of quarters in a basketball game because of millennial attention span.
They've talked about that. They've also talked about doing a shorter
so that's real?
Shot clock. Yeah. They've also talked about... So, getting back to the NASCAR thing, that's why they did it. So, one of the reasons they gave was people... So, a NASCAR race is usually 400 to 500 miles. There's one 600-miler a year, so that's 2.5 to 3 hours. They've learned that people watch the first 50 laps and people watch the last 50 laps, usually. So, 50 miles. Because the stuff in the middle really doesn't matter unless there's a huge wreck. Like, let's be honest, nobody watches NASCAR in the middle unless there's a giant crash.
Why aren't NASCAR races just shorter?
So it started out as an endurance thing. These drivers...
How long can you drive and only turn left?
Yes. Okay. But they lose... So these drivers... It's the debate of whether NASCAR drivers are athletes or not, but they will lose anywhere from 15 to 20 pounds per race from just water. So... Because those cars are over 150 degrees sometimes.
So it's like a sauna, though. It's not like they're exercising.
I mean,
they're just in a really hot car.
You're turning a 3,400-pound car, so there is a little bit of... granted, you have power steering, all that kind of stuff, but if that goes out...
it's not like they have to physically, pull 130 pounds to the left. They just turn a little wheel.
No.
And that does the trick, usually. Yeah,
the Jackman. So, I'm not going to harp on NASCAR too much.
You're going to go on a massive tangent now.
But NASCAR... NASCAR...
and everything else.
Yeah. NASCAR, the...
What did you call it? The shit...
Citrus.
Citrus. I sprayed some citrus to help it, and he called it shitrus, and now I can't get that out of my head. Sorry.
But anyways, NASCAR.
Yeah,
the
please
most important thing that everybody here wants to hear about. No, but NASCAR pit road crew members are former, usually Olympic athletes, because it is a demanding. They can change 4 tires and fuel a car in under 12 seconds.
I think they're exercising. It's the people driving. I don't think are exercising.
They do. They have a fitness regime. I mean, it's not exercise in the sense of traditional where you're running, you're getting winded. It's more
in the sense of exercise.
It's an endurance thing where you do get worn out. It's a lot of it is mental as well. Try to do a NASCAR race for 2.5 hours.
When David Blaine was in an ice block for 7 days, is that exercise?
No, that's a mental exercise. Yes, not a physical one.
There you go.
So
I can understand that viewpoint. Mentally, it's exhausting. But I mean, fucking going to work for 9 hours a day is mentally exhausting for me.
It's true. But anyways, the last 2 weeks? What have you been up to?
Oh, stuff.
You're not sick anymore.
I'm not.
As he sniffs. I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, I sniff a lot anyway. But I'm definitely not sick, which I am a fan of.
Yeah, we were both dead last. I think we both called out from work the next day because I was like,
we've had a rough couple of weeks with this stuff, but I've had enough recuperation time, so I'm not sick right now. I have been spending a lot of time at home and away from my normal kind of work stuff, doing special stuff for work, and basically, just living life, man. I mean, obviously there's a lot of weird stuff that's gone on lately, and all of those things scare me. We talked a little bit about the inauguration and the Women's March and things like that. There's been a few things that have come out just this morning as we're recording this, which are scaring me even more, like the Dakota Pipeline Access and the Keystone XL are being pushed through. And so, I mean, we don't like to get too political here, but they're just, it's difficult for me especially to hold my tongue on that stuff. And I know that you've had some interesting sort of Facebook debates with some folks about various things.
I just watch it. I didn't debate anything.
Yeah, you'll just drop a comment and then casually walk away while fireworks ensue.
So I posted a status the other day, and what it was essentially was it was about the marches, and how, to me, that is what democracy is. It doesn't matter what side of the argument you're on. If you're on the side of people who were marching, or if it was the other shoe was on the other foot and those people were marching, protesting something, that's what America is, in my opinion, and that's what we are built upon, is the ability to protest, versus if you go to China or if you go somewhere where it may not be as free of a government, you don't have that ability. So to me, that was kind of the coolest thing of this whole thing. It sparked into a political debate because I used the term mostly peaceful. Some people didn't find it mostly peaceful, but whatever. People are entitled to their opinions, but it was more of the awe of this giant, the mass gathering of people, because it's as I was saying in the video, it's a movement. It's not like a one-off. It's not.
It was nice to see that it wasn't just America either. It was all over the world.
That's what surprised me. So when I started doing some research for the video, and I was like, oh, there was Netherlands, there's France, there's Spain. I was like,
London.
Jeez, yeah, I didn't get any London photos.
Well, ours were pretty good. They said make bridges, not war, and they fired off the rainbow colors on the London Bridge. It was kind of cool.
Was it falling down
from smoke canisters? I hope they didn't.
Was London Bridge falling down?
That would be
My Fair Lady.
That would be terrible. But my wife went. My wife went to the St. Louis one.
Yep, she sent me some pictures.
Yeah, she made a little sign and everything. She was super pumped because she's been a feminist for a long time. So she really proud to be a part of that moment in history. And I'm proud for her.
Yeah, it's. It sucks because I worked that day. I would have loved to go down there, but at the same time,
me too.
It's really cool just to kind of see the aftermath.
It's cool to see it, and you know what? Protests don't always change things. And it kind of interestingly enough, this is taking it off a bit of a tangent, and this is, it's a fucking podcast. Get used to it. So, but I was getting an interesting mixture of comments in my Facebook, because there was a lot of people that were obviously kind of happy and proud that these women were doing this thing. Yeah, I didn't get anyone that was anti-marching, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
And I know that there were people that were anti-marching. My wife said there were some people that were sharing this stuff saying, these women don't march for me, I like being in the kitchen, all this kind of shit. And I'm just like, that stuff would make me want to
I saw a few of those.
Bite my tongue.
Welcome to where I went to school. That's,
it's just a supremely Christian viewpoint. Women shut up and
not just Christian but conservative.
Conservative
because even Muslims are the same way though.
True. Well, conservative religious.
Yeah.
We'll say that. Because it is religious, the idea of the woman, bowing down to the men's knees and stuff like that.
Not in the sexual way.
Well, sometimes in a sexual way too, depending on your religion. But there was actually more so from my black friends were sort of bringing up the Black Lives Matter thing.
Like, where were you?
Yeah, and it was interesting to see because they're absolutely right. They were saying essentially that it's really nice to see all these people come out and fight for women's rights and everything. But when you look at the size of the march for something like that, and you had these Black Lives Matter marches, which again had some violence in them, but it was exactly the same type of violence. It was a small group of people that were rioting compared to the thousands and thousands of people that were peacefully protesting. I think
there was something like 0.002% of people got arrested.
Absolutely. But that's all you're going to hear about in the news. And
because it's what makes headlines.
Right, exactly. It's the most interesting thing to film is people rioting and looting shit. So so the same thing happened to Black Lives Matter. And the interesting part was, if you look at footage of, the women's march, you see the police like high-fiving them. They're wearing the pink pussy hats and everything. And when you watch, obviously, the police at like Ferguson, for example,
they're all geared up.
They were geared up as like SWAT teams, and they were, they had cannons and things that they were firing on the crowd, tear canisters, things like that. And it's just really disheartening to see not only that the turnout for something as strong as another person's life was not the same, but also just the immediate response of, oh, these are black people, therefore we should definitely go in full riot gear. As opposed to joining in and being like, yeah, you're right. But I guess I get it to the extent that the Black Lives Matter movement is more kind of protesting police directly, so they're less inclined to join in with that. But at the same time, it's still kind of messed up. And I did agree with all of them wholeheartedly that it would have been nicer to have seen that style of a turnout for the BLM marches.
I'm gonna. This made me feel real good this morning. So I sent my mom the video of the video that's going on Friday. Our March video. And she had no idea. Nobody had any. I kind of just on a whim was like, I need to do shit, and I posted something on Facebook.
It was a pleasant surprise. I didn't expect you.
If you had pictures, send them to me. And fun fact, I got pictures from all over the world. Like, I had some friends overseas that sent me pictures as well, which was the coolest part. Like, to me, it was just like, I'll get St. Louis pictures. I'll go find some online from. I grabbed some of the media photos of like the overhead shots of how many people.
Celebrity photos, stuff like that.
Yeah. But I sent this to her. She had some issues downloading it. I've seen most of it. Good job. One of the many things I've loved about you is your compassion and empathy for all people, the underdog, and believing everyone should be treated equal. You have always been drawn to people's rights. And it's weird because this is gonna get real political here for a second, but I've mentioned you many times where I feel like I didn't have to grow up with race. I didn't have to grow up with some things because of where I lived. I'm very much the affluent, rich white kid, was the way I was raised for the most part. In California, you had Hispanics, you had blacks. But at the same time, I was told, not necessarily by my parents, but by my friends, that you don't want to deal with them because they're in gangs or whatever it may be.
They're scary people.
Yes. You don't want to make them mad because they'll shoot you or they'll stab you or whatever it may be. And again, it's one of those things where the small minority, when you see that happen, you're like, okay.
There's no one in the world saying that gangs don't exist.
No. But it's one of those things.
There are gangs of every race, color, and creed in the world.
The KKK is technically a gang.
They are basically the biggest, sort of most forefront gang at this point in time, with being emboldened with all the stuff that's going on.
That just made me feel good because, again, as you know, shut up, ESPN. I've been struggling with that personally, especially with this election going on. I've reached out to some people and kind of said, hey, for me, it's more of lack of knowledge than anything else. It's not like I'm against people. You were
just disengaged.
I just don't understand.
Yeah. And that's a good way to approach it. And we've talked about this before in terms of like you have felt personally a little bit like you wanted to understand different cultures and things a little better because of the lack of that type of education.
And it's no knock on my parents, no knock. It's just not at all. Just where it is.
We can tell by the text that Sandy sent you that obviously they raised you right. That's why you're talking about these things now. But at the same time, it's totally understandable. I think people sometimes disclude that some people do grow up in a bubble, and they grow up in a bubble that is not necessarily inclusive of all types of folks. And
which is sad because, I mean, again, I'm not going to get super like philosophical here, but my belief is nobody is born a racist, a bigot, whatever word you want to throw at them. It's a product of their environment. And if you take somebody like, for me, growing up a Christian, one of the questions I was asked a lot of time, would I still be a Christian if I was outside the U.S.? And a lot of my friends were like, of course I would. And to me, I'm like, I really don't know. If I was in India, I probably wouldn't be, because that's not the prominent religion.
It's the right answer.
So it's one of those things where I'm trying to be self-aware of that, but at the same time, you're aware that you grew up in a bubble, but you don't want to have that bubble. That bubble's going to affect you, but you don't want it to affect you to the point of
that's the whole privilege argument as well. Is that for a lot of people, especially white people, it makes us uncomfortable when someone says you have a privilege, and because it feels like someone's insulting you, and it feels like someone's saying you don't understand. You have privilege. No one, and you feel like, dude, I've had hard times. You could have been like really poor growing up and everything. You'd be like, where's my fucking privilege? And I've heard those viewpoints, but it is something that is completely blind to people that they have it, and I'm aware of that. I'm aware that I carry a certain privilege with me, which is why I try and use it for the betterment of
because you're English.
Well, a little bit of that, but
especially in America.
I mean, yes, I'm white. I'm a middle-aged white guy, balding white guy. But I will, go out to the store wearing like a Black Lives Matter shirt or whatever, and try and bring as much attention to these causes as I can, because it's on me to do that, and that's why one of my friends, our mutual friend, actually posted the weekend before the Women's March and said, hey, I'm free this weekend. I know there's things going on. What can I do? I didn't think it would be worth going to the Women's March because I assume that you guys don't need middle-aged white dudes to help you out. The interesting response that he was getting was, oh, no, we do. We need you to legitimize
what we're saying.
Protests. Which is weird. Sad that you have to rely on that kind of legitimization. But again, it's the same thing that the Black Lives Matter guys were saying, is they're saying we need legitimized protests. So all these white women that showed up for reproductive rights and Planned Parenthood and all this stuff, those reasons for the march, can you please show up for us saying please stop killing our children? Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's so yeah, it does legitimize things, being white and being at these places. So if you are a person that likes to be politically active or whatever, whichever side of the scale you're on, just show up and show
educate yourself. That's the big thing. And I mean, we're not here to preach. We obviously have our own viewpoints, and me and Tom have not very different, but we have different viewpoints.
It's fair to say that we're not 100% aligned on all political / religious matters. But we can talk about it,
and we can respect each other. I mean, I don't want to get too much into it, but like that post I put on my personal Facebook where it turned around and it turned into a shit show because somebody was just basically telling us you're wrong, you're animals, and like that's not an argument. That's your opinion on somebody. That's not an argument. So one of the things, you've come up with a true argument, fine, whatever it may be, like great. So
I just think that in general, people need to respect other people. They need to respect the planet. They need to respect the viewpoints of others. And right now,
whether you agree or not,
the climate that we're in, it's impossible to do that with how divisive everything is. Everything is divisive, from politics to the media to whatever it is that you're into. There's a divisiveness to it, and I guess that's partially what you get out of a two-party system. Is also partially what you get out of corruption. And I think that a lot of corporate interests and rich interests have their fingers so deep into the political climate here in this country that right now we're literally witnessing like the shutdown of 20, 30, 40, 50 plus years of progress in a week.
which is terrifying.
It's terrifying.
The good news is,
terrifying.
I mean, not that there's good news out of it. The good news is there's executive orders, so they're easily overturned by whoever's in next.
Yeah, but that means 4 years of
Yes.
people having to live through the dark ages.
Well, I agree, but that's the light in this situation with what we've currently got going
I
on.
don't think I'll make it 4 years.
But
I don't think I'll make it.
We'll find out.
I don't think I'll make it a year.
There's one way to find out.
There is one way to find out.
And that's
see if you can
what
live
happens.
long enough.
Yeah, see what happens. But let's go ahead and switch
Oh, fuck
the
that
topic.
guy. Fuck that guy.
Do you remember that?
Oh, God.
For those of you who didn't see, every time they would switch on the presentation, they would snap their fingers every time they said switch.
I think they did it like 50 times during that.
I want to go back and watch the count. I was watching
really nuts.
I was watching Kind of Funny, and they're like, okay, this is stupid. Like, it was clever the first few times. Like, this is dumb.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, it's just creepy. It just kind of, it's like the guys at Nintendo that are higher up at Nintendo are just like, every time you say that, you have to do this.
And everybody's gonna love it.
Yeah, it's
Nobody
like
liked
if you work at a corporate job or whatever, it's like them saying like every time you answer the phone, you have to do it this way. You know what I mean? Like you have to say whatever. It was ridiculous.
Thank you for calling Applebee's. My name's Shauna. How can I help you?
Yeah. But worse because you have to go and smile.
So let's talk. So I released a video that night.
Yes.
That
controversial.
Got some people heated, both in the comments and in private. I got some messages from people saying they don't agree with my viewpoint, which is perfectly fine. I mean, you're allowed to disagree with me. It's my opinion.
I do regularly.
Yeah. And I think the more I sit on it, because that was my emotional response when I was done, I was very upset.
I think it's good that you recorded it that quickly, though, because we've had time now to digest it, which is why we're going to have this conversation about it.
It's been what,
good to catch
2 weeks?
It's a couple weeks, yeah, but it's good to catch that immediate response versus now you've had time to chew it. Like, how do you feel about it?
Your wife's texting you.
Yeah, she can wait.
Love you, Jess.
I can't help you right now, sweetie. I'm in the middle of a podcast,
You should play this for her. Be like, hey, remember that time?
Yeah.
No, but so my gut feeling, there's a couple things that happened. One, I think the presentation itself was garbage, and I don't know if that's because it was a Japanese presentation or if it was because it was just bad in general or what. I want to say it's a little bit of both.
I don't want to blame Japan.
No,
but I would say that Nintendo typically does do shitty presentations,
which is why they do their directs are. So they had a direct the next week for Fire Emblem.
Right.
It was just like bam, bam, bam. Here's the shit you need to know. Done.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's coming out this day. Or we don't know. It's going to come out this
See, I
time.
like to a certain extent. I like some of the quirks because I adhere to them a little bit. Like like when Reggie said for the first time, he said "My body is ready" or whatever, and that became a giant meme because Reggie's. But
Reggie wasn't there. It was all the.
He was there. Well, he was in the presentation. He wasn't at the presentation.
That's what I'm saying.
But they did show him at the end.
That's what I'm saying, though. He wasn't part of the presentation.
No. Except for
he was part of the event. He was part of the event in New York City.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
Tim Geddes, you guys don't watch Kind of Funny. I'm a huge fan of them. Tom knows. And Tim Geddes was at the event. He said the presentation that Reggie gave to them the next day, because he was like me. He was super bummed out. He's like, he's gonna buy it because he's a Nintendo fan, but it's also one of those things. He's like, I expected more. He's a lot. Like, we have very similar opinions on it. And he's like, that presentation Reggie gave the next day was 20 minutes, told us what I needed to know, and we were ready to go.
Yeah.
It's like, you're going to play Zelda, you're going to play this game. There's Mario's here, but you can't play it, but it's coming later. Here's why. And
just
like,
a distilled
version. Yeah, he was just like.
Well, I think that's a cultural difference between the two things. I think that they didn't necessarily. And, you can't be like Japan. You need to make it more Western for the Western. I mean, they do whatever the fuck they want, and we know Japan's crazy, and we love the certain aspects of craziness about them. Suda51, bless his cotton heart, was trying to do what was it he was doing? He was like Suda. It was great.
At that point, I was just like, this is weird.
That dude, that dude lost his damn mind.
They lost me when they spent 20 minutes on the Joy-Con.
Yeah.
That's when they lost me, and I think so. Let's get back to my original points.
Let's talk about the things that upset you now versus now you've had time to chew on it.
Yeah, so what initially upset me and what still upsets me is how they announced software. They did not announce very much. They announced for first. Oh, I'm knocking my pop filter down.
It's going to shit already, guys.
For first party, let's see. You got Zelda at launch. You have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe in April. You have Splatoon, I believe, in June or July. It's summer sometime.
And that wasn't even a new Splatoon necessarily.
It's Splatoon 2.
It was... Oh, no, it's not, though, is it? It's a remaster of the first one with a few additional levels.
But it's called
and
Splatoon
characters.
2.
Yes, but it's not
So is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Right.
It's a remaster
But
with
it's not Mario
dry
Kart
bones
9,
and more
right?
Yeah. And then in the fall, the big one is Super Mario Odyssey. Those are the big first-party titles that are coming. They've since announced, what's their face? Fire Emblem coming 2018, and so on. And then launch titles, I've actually got a list here.
All three of them?
There's 5, I think, or 6.
There's 5,
I think there's 5 or 6 now.
We were concerned there was like 3, right?
So what they announced at the conference was Zelda was the big one. 1-2 Switch, which to me is like the Wii Sports.
That's the weird one where they're like cowboys and stuff.
Yeah, you don't look at the screen. You look at each other and you shoot each other.
How do you know when to shoot?
I'm assuming it tells you audibly. I'm guessing.
So you have to listen? That's kind of shitty.
I guess. I don't know. There's that Just Dance 2017, which I don't think they announced at the thing.
Can't wait for that.
The one I'm actually excited about, and they didn't talk that much about it, if at all. I can't remember if they talked about it in the presentation or if I just watched it afterwards, is Bomberman R.
Oh, yeah.
That, to me, because it's exactly what I want. It's an old Nintendo game just brought to the 21st century, where it's just like updated graphics, same gameplay, a little bit of tweaks here and there. Like, that's what I wanted.
Good play. And the Switch being having an emphasis on multiplayer, that's a perfect kind of deal for that.
And then they have Skylanders Imaginators is the other launch game that they have. As of right now.
A couple gimmicky ones in there.
Yes.
Couple gimmicky ones.
1-2 Switch, I think the problem I have with 1-2 Switch is I think of Wii Sports, and Wii Sports was a free game. It's 50,
but it was good. I mean, Wii Sports was literally one of the best games.
No, that's not a knock on that, but if you look at 1-2 Switch being that, and people are like me are like, oh, it should be packed in, or it should be a maybe $20-$30 game. It's a $50 game.
Oh, fuck
and
that.
I don't think they've said how many mini games are involved.
Yeah.
So that's the other issue. It's like longevity. That to me is a perfect party game. Like if you're going to show somebody the Switch, because it is one of the ones that use the HD Rumble perfectly. If you're going to show somebody Switch, that's going to be one of the party you're going to pull out and maybe play every so often. But basically, you're going to play.
What
Zelda.
do you make of those controllers, by the way? Since they spent so much time talking about them, what did you make of them?
So, I have no issue with the Joy-Con controllers in the 2 of the 3 formats. I don't mind them being on the outside of the Switch, which is the actual screen, the tablet itself. To me, that's perfect for portability. It reminds me a lot of the Wii U gamepad, which I actually love the Wii U gamepad. I play a lot of games off my TV on the Wii U gamepad while watching TV or in my bed just laying there. The second way I liked them was the nunchuck style, like Wii style, where they're 2 separate ones. Granted, I'm kind of mad they did motion controls, but at this point I've decided Nintendo will never give up on them.
Yeah, Nintendo is too proud of that.
But to their defense, Sony still does it too.
Yeah.
Granted, Sony now has PSVR, but
Sony would not do it if it wasn't for PSVR.
But their controller still has a motion sensor in it before PSVR was announced.
As we've discussed before, I think that Sony had several warehouses full of Move controllers, and it was just going, what can we do with those? Oh, wait, let's
bundle it with this.
Yeah, and now they're sold out everywhere, so genius move, Sony. Congratulations.
So that, and then one of the things I was pleasantly surprised to hear from all the coverage I've seen is, I call it the dog head, like the Wii U kind of pad thing that you slide the Switch the Joy-Con controllers into.
That thing, yeah, that was weird.
I've heard it plays just as well as a Pro controller, other than the buttons are small. So the number one complaint I've been hearing from a few outlets is the size of the buttons.
The sticks are a little off, though, aren't they?
No, the sticks are fine when you're playing it side by side. That's why people like it in the 2 to 3. The third mode, when you take one, and I say we're playing a 2-player game, and I hand you one Joy-Con to play the other one, we turn it sideways and play like this.
Well, that's just like a NES controller.
Stupid. No, because it's like this big.
Yeah.
That's the problem, is that and the joysticks are off center.
Well, yeah, I mean, the one that
funky.
I didn't really like was when they had the one that slots into the other one. I assume this is the dog one you were mentioning. But instead of having the sticks at a sort of equal-ish level, like they are on Xbox and PlayStation, the left stick is very high and the right stick is very low, and the buttons are above the right stick, which just seems...
Well, Xbox used to be the other way around. Xbox used to be up here.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just accustomed to PlayStation controllers.
And that's why, I mean, one of the things...
Scares me.
One of the things...
It's weird and foreign.
Again, I follow a lot of Kind of Funny, and I follow IGN. again. But one of the things they said with the Pro controller that they didn't like was the triggers remind them of the Xbox One controller, which isn't a bad thing because some people love that. I'm so used to the DualShock 4 with how far that trigger goes, but I could see why somebody would enjoy that controller. I don't think it's worth $80. I think that's where it kind of was like the nail in the coffin was the price of those damn accessories.
Yeah, those accessories were ridiculously
$80
priced.
for a Pro controller, $70 for the two Joy-Cons, 50 by itself.
Yeah.
I mean,
just very, very silly.
Yeah, and again, the number one complaint, getting back to what I didn't like about the Switch from the get-go, is that software. They, at the presentation, I'm going to pull the presentation separate from everything else I've learned, so I've learned a few more things since then, but at the presentation, they did not have any software, and they still don't have software that makes me want to buy it at launch, but they've shown me some stuff since then I'm excited about.
Okay.
But doesn't mean it'll sell the system to me.
You're still not in pre-order mode,
no,
but you will probably pick it up down the line at some point. That's kind of where I'm at.
I'm probably going to be the Mario guy.
I was,
which is a big disappointment.
Mario looks weird as shit, let's be honest, but
more news has come out about that, so I'm a little excited about it.
Okay. But what I was going to say was that I was kind of like, initially when I first watched the presentation, I watched it with Jess, and she was laughing her ass off at how weird everything was, and at the end I was like, you know what, like, I wouldn't mind picking one of those up, you know, it's okay. But then you had mentioned, and a lot of people had mentioned, that with basically Zelda is the only thing you're going to get at launch. That is available on the Wii U, which is cheaper than I'm assuming, although not that much, because honestly,
They're both $60 on the Switch. I think it's $50 on
No, I mean the console itself. I went out to pick up a Wii U.
Nintendo doesn't slash their prices.
I know, that's the fucking sucky thing, because my wife was like, I want a Wii, because she used to have one, and she like regretted getting rid of it, so she wanted to buy another one. And I said, why don't we get a Wii U, because I can play all the Wii stuff, but you'll have the ability to play Zelda and stuff like that. Maker. Right, and the new Mario Kart and stuff. But then we went to look at the prices on them, and they're still $260.
Yep.
I'm like, you can't have the Switch for $300 and the fucking Wii U at $260. That's insane. $200. I was sold. I would have got it.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not paying $260 for something that literally just became obsolete.
Yeah.
So that pissed me off a little bit. But you know, and if you have one already, like you do, then so there's no draw.
I'm one of the 12 million people who bought a Wii U, and I'm not a huge. I feel like I should have prefaced this in the video, but I didn't. But I'm not a huge Zelda fan. I respect the series. I think it's a cool. I played Ocarina of Time and I played Majora's Mask. Didn't finish them, but I played them, and I thought it was fun. But I'm a Mario guy. Like, Mario to me will sell that console or not sell that console to me, because Mario and Donkey Kong are the two series that like grip me, and I think that's partially because of how I was raised, going back to my history of playing Donkey Kong at Grandma's house or playing Mario with my cousins. Or
I do think though that your mindset might be different now to what it was, because if you remember, you have taken on things like RPGs and
Zelda,
things like that.
The new Zelda just doesn't. It looks cool, but I don't think I would enjoy it. I don't know what it is about that game.
I think you would.
They did come out and say the differences between the Wii U and the Switch version. First things first, the Wii U version is 720p. The Switch is 900p. Period.
None of them 1080.
Not 1080. 900p.
Wow.
The Switch version will have, I don't know how they fucking worded it, but basically it's going to have better audio, so the footsteps, the trees, and the grass sound better. The ambience noise. Ambiance.
The grass.
The grass.
Everyone knows the sound of grass.
Yes. It does if you put it between your ears.
That's grass.
Yeah. The textures and lighting will be a lot better on the Switch than it will be on the Wii U, just because it's a little bit more powerful. And then the final thing is the Wii U will not have, which this doesn't surprise me at all, will not have a deluxe or a collector's edition. So, doesn't surprise me at all. So, my opinion on Nintendo, and this is going to be a very controversial one. I know it's going to start some shit again. My position on Nintendo and the Switch is I think they released it too soon. I don't think they were ready. I think the Wii U forced their hand to release it when they wanted to. I think with Mario coming in the fall, I think the problem they had was they're like, we have Zelda done. The Wii U's dead. We need to get this onto a new platform to try and start building people up. So Zelda's a perfect launching point for that. So let's launch it in the spring when Zelda comes out, because they're not going to delay Zelda because people are already pissed. I think they should have launched it with Mario. If Mario was like summer, I would not have an issue with it. But I think they just aren't ready software-wise to have all this stuff prepared to go first party. I mean, I'm going to pull up here the list of confirmed titles for Switch.
Go for it.
So, again, launch is Zelda's 1-2 Switch, Bomberman R, Skylanders, Imagineers, and Just Dance. The sleeper one, I think, around launch, I don't know if it's officially launched, but this says March, so it's around launch day, is Snipper Clips, which is a cool little puzzle game where basically, think of like Photoshop where you have layers on top of each other, and these two little pieces of paper, and if you're on top of me, and you can cut me out to fit into shapes to solve puzzles. It's really cool. It's a great couch co-op.
Sounds abysmal. I'll be honest.
It's very clever. It reminds me of a lot of good indie games.
Did you see ARMS?
Yes. I was going to get to that. That was the one that got me, but that's not a launch title.
I know.
So the other one that officially this morning was announced as launch title is I Am Setsuna is coming out. Which has already
been out on the other consoles for a while.
Which, yes, that's true, but I also look at it as the Nintendo fan haven't had it yet. So, granted that like Skyrim's 5 years old. This one's not. This one's only
Do you think there's many people out there that only have a Wii U or still have a Wii U?
I doubt it.
That's the thing.
Wii I could see just because of how big it was.
Because to me, it's always been kind of a secondary console. It's always been like Microsoft and Sony top of the pile. Nintendo is something that every gamer has a slight modicum of respect for, even whether they have the consoles or not. And I think that, you know, for those people that had an N64 or a GameCube or whatever, that grew up with this stuff, they have a special little nostalgic twinge for it that makes them want to pick up the newer ones.
Until PlayStation. Like the 64, I think, was their last. Well, I guess technically Super Nintendo.
The GameCube did surprisingly well. It just never took off at the same level that 64 did.
Because the UMDs.
Right.
Or whatever the hell they called it.
Well, not just that. Definitely partially that. But also just because, again, the software wasn't really there for it. It was a lot of kid games.
And that's what gets me. I said it in the video, and I still stand behind some of my statements for the video, is Nintendo said the same thing with the Wii U. We're going to have third-party support, and we're going to have great first-party titles. As I said, show me.
Yeah.
Don't just tell me, show me. And the concern I have with third parties, and again, I'll continue going down this list, but the concern I have with third parties is we're porting Skyrim. Granted, Skyrim's a huge game. One, it's not been confirmed, and I don't think it will be, is not the remastered.
No. It is a high-definition version, but not the full true remaster.
And two, Skyrim's 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
If Bethesda releases Elder Scrolls 6... will that be able to be played on the Switch? Because I doubt it, because Microsoft and Sony are both going towards 4K, and they're going to build it for those systems because they have a bigger install base. Unless the Wii U decides to explode. Or not the Wii U, the Switch decides to take off and just become... Then I could see it becoming more of a, we got to get this on here.
And that does make me sad a little bit, because I feel like, once again, they underpowered the hardware of the machine. And whilst I agree with you in terms that I think the software is definitely what's lacking the most as far as trying to sell the thing, I do feel that the hardware is what's going to kill it. Because software can always be developed.
Yeah.
And even if they reach a rocky road where they're not getting, too much out there, there's always the capability of Nintendo as a first-party software developer turning that around. The problem is if they lose third-party dev support,
they got to make them out quicker.
Right. Because it's the same thing that happened to Windows Phone, is that, you already have the iOS store in place, you have the Android store in place. Developers are going to make games for those because they have the bigger install base, but, they wouldn't make them for the Windows Phone because, frankly, there wasn't enough fucking Windows phones in the world. And that probably is partially what killed the Wii U, and also definitely what killed the Vita.
Well, so the end of the Wii U, what's got me, a couple things. One is the fact that there was no third-party support, which, again, I don't buy a Nintendo system for third-party. I have my PS4. But that does make Nintendo need to turn them out a little bit quicker. And Mario Tennis was absolute shit. Star Fox was absolute shit. So I think it's kind of like, oh shit, we got to get something out, because there's been 2 months that there's not been any significant game.
Yeah.
Versus, let's be honest, when we go on PlayStation or we go on Xbox, there may not be a AAA title coming that day, but there's something on that store that's like, ooh, this is kind of cool. Let me look at it. For where I feel like Nintendo didn't really have that.
That's half of what we base our show around, is those little kind of like, ooh, should I not? $10, $20.
And that's where the third-party support comes in, is kind of keeping you from big release to big release, and then the fall happens and everything just fucking goes crazy.
Yeah.
Well, this year the spring happens and everything goes fucking crazy because
everything got pushed from
the fall to this year. But going through, I'm gonna finish this here with spring 2017 ARMS, which as you talked about, I think it's a cool looking game. To me, that's what the motion controls are for. I found out later on you can play it without motion controls, which I'm excited about, like a fighter style game. Vince Ingenito from IGN, who's a big fighter fan, is very excited about it because it reminds him of some of the older games he played in the arcade.
I mean, it looks like a fun like anime or something.
Rumor has it those characters are going to be in the new Smash, but that they've not announced. So
Interesting.
Nintendo's trying to make that push for them to fit into Smash.
Yeah, see, that's approaching it wrong, I think. You don't make characters to fit into a different franchise. You make characters to fit into their own franchise.
Yeah.
And those
And then if they
characters
take
were
off-
super fucking generic,
Yeah.
in my eyes.
Yep.
But what do I know?
They remind. Well, it's the same thing with Splatoon, which Splatoon was. That's why I picked up Splatoon because I was like, "What the hell is this?"
Splatoon is a neat idea.
Yes.
Its
launch. I think what happened to it was its launch was garbage because it didn't have a lot of stuff, and now they fixed it. And I was at that point, I was like, I don't care because PlayStation had already gotten my money.
Yeah, I mean, it's the problem. The thing that makes me sad about Splatoon is that it is a genuinely kind of adorable attempt at trying to do kind of online battle for
Nintendo
the
console.
younger generation. Yeah, for a generation of people that think squirting squid guns and you know and paint is better than actually Call of Dutying each other in the face.
Yeah.
So, and I get it, and it was a really valiant effort. I just think that again, timing and things like that you mentioned that killed it.
Yeah. Next thing, spring 2017, Puyo Puyo Tetris, which is apparently a really cool puzzle Tetris game. I don't know anything. Puyo Puyo was a game before. Tetris was a game before.
I recognize Puyo Puyo.
They maxed them together.
And I recognize Tetris. I do not know how those two things fit together.
I've yet to see a video on it.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Rhyme, which I've never heard of.
I've heard of that one.
Sonic Mania, which makes me excited because I think that's the good Sonic. There's like 3 Sonic games coming out in the next 18 months, and hopefully one of them.
Wasn't it weird seeing Sega on stage? It was weird to me.
Remember, I'm too young,
Yeah,
so that never was really a thing. Like, yes, there was the Super Nintendo versus Genesis, but I played.
There's
both.
a lot of memes that came out like the day after of like the guy from Sega on stage and how he just looked like a broken man,
Yeah.
just hashing back to the Genesis versus SNES wars and stuff.
Yeah.
That cracked me up.
Lego City Undercover is spring 2017. Then summer. This is where shit gets real empty. Splatoon 2, summer 2017. And then we get into fall, Skyrim, Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim, which my take on that is, again, it's really cool to take the portable, but I'm not going to buy a Switch for that game because I already own it on PS4, even as somebody who did not buy it, and B, people who have already played it have owned it somewhere else.
My wife telling me to have pants on when we're done with this.
Oh.
You can
I can
tell.
vouch he has pants on.
I have pants on right now. I'm going to keep them on too.
Holiday 2017, Super Mario Odyssey, which I'm going to get in that.
So let's talk about that, yeah,
Okay.
because since we're on it, because obviously the big talking point for Super Mario Odyssey is Mario in New York.
Yes,
or
and,
whatever the
and my
equivalent
gut
of New
reaction
York
of
is.
why I didn't like that, it's actually...
It
so
looks
came out,
really weird.
It was... I can't remember if it's called... It's not Badonk City, but it's a Donkey Kong City, essentially.
Donk City.
I can't remember what it says in the trailer. Like, there's a sign that tells you what it is, but it's a Donkey Kong City.
Badonkadonk City.
Badonkadonk. Gotta get that Badonkadonk, as we did the other day in...
Borderlands.
Yeah. No, so... The reason I didn't like that trailer, and I didn't like it... The stuff that was not in the city, I was all for.
It looked cool.
I was like, this is Mario. It's in his world. Fantastic. I had flashbacks of Sonic.
Yeah.
And Sonic is garbage.
A lot of people did.
And that's why I was like, oh shit. Like, the mechanic of jumping on his hat, using his hat, is really cool. I like that because that adds more platforming abilities to different things. I just don't know. Having Mario stand next to a real person just felt
That was
weird.
the weird part, wasn't it? It wasn't weird that he was in a city. That was okay. I was okay with that. It was the fact that everyone else was a normal dude.
Yes.
And like, you can't do that. You can't have like Mario's form is kind of the human form of the Mushroom Kingdom.
Yes.
So you can't you could have like Koopas and shit in there and that would be fine. Or have other characters that are like kind of look like Mario. Don't have normal human people next to Mario and make him look like an evil Italian midget. That's just that's not cool at all.
In the more, so some of the news that has come out,
And that stupid fucking hat as well. Like the guy that wore the hat with the eyes on it. It's like, as you may have noticed, I have something different about me.
but I like that hat. the mechanic they used for the hat is cool to me.
The mechanic was cool.
Yes,
just the eye thing is weird.
Yes, which I wonder if that's gonna have its own life to it, like a Yoshi style sidekick.
I
thing.
imagine so.
So we'll see how they do that.
I
but
think that's the big part of this game. I assume.
Yeah,
his hat comes to life.
The Mario thing. I've heard two things of that trailer, which Nintendo has neither confirmed nor denied either of them. One is that's the hub world, which if that's the hub world, fine. Cool. I won't be there. I mean, I'll be there that often, but I won't be playing in there that often. Because the problem I had with it when I was watching the trailer is you're jumping from light post to light post, car to car. Where do I go? Like, there's no sense of direction that I want.
Because it was sandbox, which is unusual. Well, it's not really unusual for a Mario game. Because if you think about it, even the N64 version was sandboxy, but they were still like
there was goals to go to, which again they may have just not shown off. But like even if they'd done something of like a pan down and there's Bowser up on the castle, I'm like, there's where you're going.
Where you got to go to.
Yeah, that kind of stuff I think would have been good. And it's either so the rumor one is it's the hub world, which I'm totally fine with. Rumor two, which I'm probably even more fine with, which means I don't have to play it as much, is it's just a world in Mario.
Yeah.
But I don't know how I feel about that because it doesn't fit the rest of Mario.
Well, it would have to be some kind of weird subtext with like Mario ends up in the real world. Like it would be definitely like fourth wall breakingly weird. But
can we talk about Bowser's hat too and all that? Like
I didn't even see Bowser had a hat.
He had a pimp hat.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
no, I did see that.
So
pimp
like
Bowser.
I have a feeling hats have something to do in this game. I wonder if there's like a time travel hat or something. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I don't want
What if Mario just has like a mushroom and it's it's a special mushroom and then he trips balls and he ends up in the city and that's what he's seeing. Like it's a bad mushroom. Yeah. That would be funny.
I don't want to write that game off because it is Mario and I've not seen enough.
I've seen
one trailer.
It'll be good. It just looks weird. I think that's all we have to say about it.
Yep, it didn't.
I'm sure
it'll
be
fit.
great.
There's people who are super excited about it because it's Mario and I was excited to see Mario and it sucks because like with Super Mario Run I had the same reaction of like, this is cool because they give me Mario, but it's not what I want.
Right.
But I also learned from the one thing I've learned from this presentation, and I can't remember if I told you or if I told somebody else this, but it was more of I now understand that I can't have any expectations for Nintendo. Nintendo's going to do whatever the hell they want every time, and I was excited.
In a way, you respect him for it.
Yeah, but
so
that initial Switch announcement, the reveal of Switch when they did the let's go to the video with it, let's go hang out and play all together, and I was like, holy shit, like new Nintendo, like. They got third-party support. They showed NBA 2K. They showed off Skyrim. Like, that was fantastic. It's like, oh, sweet, we got this. And then I just feel like they kind of just floundered.
The conference definitely did not help their cause.
Yes.
I think the conference made more people who were excited before less excited, which was interesting.
I think it did bring a lot of people who didn't know about it.
True, because it was a big deal. And
even where we were, some people that don't care about video games came up and asked me my opinion. I've
had quite a few conversations with some folks that have said, "Hey, we need to talk about the Switch. Yeah. Like, let's talk about it," which I thought was kind of interesting. That A, anyone gives a shit what I think about it, but B, just that it's kind of a talking point. It's a water cooler.
I mean, it's again, it goes back to the nostalgia of Nintendo. Yeah, like everybody, if you play video games,
everyone loves Nintendo.
You know Nintendo.
Everyone wants Nintendo to succeed.
Yes,
Nintendo has been floundering for years and they are losing stock, they're losing profit, and they need a win, and this is
hopefully
one of their last shots at getting one before they're going to go under from their own.
Well, they're not going to go under, but they're going to probably not make hardware anymore.
Well, that's what I mean by go under. They're going to be Sega.
Financially, they're
going to be Sega, and then what happens? Because I mean, here's the thing: like,
how weird would it be to see Mario
on a PlayStation? Yeah, that was my next thought. Yeah,
that's weird.
That's something I don't even know if I'd be happy about.
With Sonic, when Sonic showed up on Nintendo, it's like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah,
but you'll get used to it eventually. I hope it doesn't go that way because Nintendo builds their software around gimmicks.
I just want Nintendo to just not let's stay away from the motion control stuff for a minute. Why don't they just have your Switch, right? Have your Switch for your casual gamer. Have your motion control machine for your casual gamer. But maybe make another console. And I know that they're they've done enough consoles lately. But maybe make another console where you purely focus on for gamers. Just max that fucker out with the best graphics cards and the best resolution possible output and all that stuff, and actually try and beat the people that are there in the industry instead of playing catch up.
The rebuttal I have to that is, if you look at any game Nintendo's made, the ones that stand the test of time they've been an art style, not necessarily the best technically graphic thing. The only reason they would need the technical machine
But
is
you're
for the third
thinking
parties.
first party only.
Yes, is for the third parties, and that's a big question mark I have. And
Like you put it perfectly when you said what happens when Elder Scrolls 6 comes out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing is that the Switch won't be able to do it, or they'll have to do some weird watered down version, which is what they did for the Wii. It's what they did for the Wii U.
which the Wii U had a lot of games canceled because of it. They're like, we just can't. Like,
Yeah.
I can't remember what game it was, but they're like, we physically cannot make this game work on the Wii U, and I was like, that sucks.
Yeah.
Like, nobody wants to hear that. I think that's why it's Zombie U, because they took some stuff out.
Yeah.
So,
Which, to be fair, at least they made it interesting with the gamepad and everything.
Yeah.
But at the same point, I don't know. I just feel bad, man. I don't know. They can't realistically do that because then they're contending with themselves. Like, what do you release on what console? And if this machine can handle it and this machine can't, then what's the point in having this machine? But I don't know. I feel like I really want it to succeed. Everyone wants it to succeed. I don't think it will. Being brutally honest.
I think the way they're marketing it right now, I agree. I think if they come out, because they don't want to hurt 3DS sales right now because of portability. But if they come out and say, if they came out to you and said, "Hey, you can take Elder Scrolls on the go, you can take Mario on the go, and they're going to be full games," that'd be fucking fantastic. Like, you take these full games on the go. If they market it that way, great. I think Nintendo's actually kind of butting their own heads together with different mixed messaging.
Yeah.
Of like,
they're almost contending with their own handheld.
Yeah,
to an extent.
That and even within the messaging themselves. So there was an interview with Reggie. Reggie came out and kind of talked about battery life and taking Zelda on the go, and he goes, the coolest thing is popping the thing out and taking it with you. But then everything from Nintendo, from Japan, is it's a console. It's going to be docked. It's going to stay here. And I was just like, you guys are not talking. Like, they're probably not talking, but you're not talking with each other. Like, you're sending out mixed messages. You don't know. I don't think you know what this is.
Well, that's the thing, and I think that
sucks.
they're also contending with two different audiences because Nintendo has always been unabashedly Japanese, and they have this kind of stranglehold to an extent on that that side of the world, Eastern game making, JRPGs, things like that. They do have
Sony's getting better at
obvious
it, though.
right, and they do have obvious titles. I mean, Japanese company too, but they do have obvious titles that are designed for that side of the world, and they have some that are designed for this side of the world. Your Mario's, your Zelda's, your Donkey Kongs, etc. Smash,
NBA 2K16, which is coming out,
and
Minecraft story mode. Steep.
I don't know.
Minecraft, Rayman Legends.
God, is there anything
Farming
Minecraft is
Simulator?
not on?
You excited for Farming Simulator?
Can't wait.
It's actually the working title. I'm going to guess it's Farming Simulator 2017 and Project Sonic 2017.
Plant me a field. Sounds great.
Steep. It makes me sad that Ubisoft. That's what concerns me is, again, they say they have 80 games in development. They have these third parties, but let's look at Ubisoft. Ubisoft brought Steep over, which Steep portably is a cool idea, but it's not Watch Dogs. It's not For Honor. It's not their big titles that are coming out this year. It's a game that was released last holiday, which isn't that long ago in their defense. But how many people go to Ubisoft and think of Steep?
Yeah.
What do you think of when I say Ubisoft? Watch Dogs right now is probably the big one.
Assassin's Creed.
Yes, well, they can't bring Assassin's Creed just because it's not available, but yes. But I don't think Assassin's Creed is going to make it to the Switch. How cool would it be to have Assassin's Creed? And then that's where I think my disappointment comes in is Nintendo set themselves up so well to get this thing right if they'd done it right. And if I could take Assassin's Creed on the go, if I could take Watch Dogs on the go, if I could take... I mean, they have NBA 2K, which is fine.
So you're saying like the design and the idea behind the design is
fantastic,
good, but because of lack of software and potential lack of ability for software,
the hardware limitations, is what's going to be concerned. Until somebody comes out and proves me wrong, that's how I'm going to feel. Yeah. Until Elder Scrolls Bethesda comes out and Todd Howard goes, Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be on the Switch. Then I'll be like, fuck yeah. Cool, you got me. I think there needs to be that, kind of like we're talking about with PSVR. Like, we did Resident Evil recently, and with PSVR, it's, you need that one game that kind of like, okay, here's the big game for it. Nintendo...
Or at least proof of concept.
Yes. Because Nintendo is, let's be honest, the first-party titles are going to sell. I'm waiting for them to bring Super Mario, or Mario Maker to the Switch. You know it's going to happen at some point. It's got to. Because that game is too big to not.
Yeah.
Whether it's a port, whether it's a new one, I don't care. I just hope they do it right. That's my big concern with it.
Super Mario Maker 1.5 remastered edition.
I mean, I would be fine with that just because it came out so late in the Wii U's life cycle.
I mean, really, how can you do a sequel to that game?
You unlock more skins.
No, that's an add-on. I mean, the only way you can really do a sequel to that game is to make it a different style of game, like Super Zelda Maker.
Well, think about it. So now that it's portable,
Super Donkey Kong Maker.
Think about it now that it's portable. You could do both console skins.
It's portable before though, because you had the Wii U,
but not the same way. You still have to have the console plugged in.
Yeah.
So everything is stored on the Switch, which I was very excited about.
That is interesting.
And one thing we're not talking about, which I feel like we should talk about the good about the Switch, USB-C.
Yeah, the fact you can charge that fucker.
Yep.
Yeah, with a battery pack or whatever.
Cody from the Dream Saga, me and him have gone back and forth. He's super hyped about it. I'm, as many of you have heard, I'm not super hyped about it. And we've had good discussions about it. And he brought up a good point where, like, to me, the battery life's not an issue. The 2.5 to 3 hours for Zelda, that's kind of what I expected, just because the way batteries are, up to 6 hours. But he's like, there's going to be a third-party company that's going to find a way to put a battery pack on the back of that thing, and you'll get it for 18 hours. You know it's going to happen. And it sucks because it takes a third party to do that, but at the same time...
If it works, it works.
I was going to say, think about, like, phones. How many third-party accessories are out there, and how well does it work? And with USB-C being ubiquitous...
The only difference being, though, is the install base.
Yes.
Because it makes sense to create a battery pack that fits directly on the back of an iPhone, because there are 60 million iPhones in the world.
But if you do a USB-C, maybe not necessarily that attaches to it, but a USB-C battery pack...
Yeah.
You can sell it to the Switch people until potentially that...
I'm sure someone will be smart enough to capitalize on that, but because everyone would buy it.
Yes. And that to me is one of the coolest things. And that dock, I don't know if you've seen the any of the videos of the thing docking in and out and how quick it is. That to me is the magic of the Switch, and I think that's why they called it the Switch.
Yeah, and that's what Nintendo does really well, is they do create moments of magic for you and moments of ease of use and convenience, and kind of those special little wire moments. They're very good at it, but again, it still has all the pitfalls of everything else that we've mentioned so far. So, I mean, I think to put a lid on it, ultimately, it's going to be a wait and see. It's going to be a
I think my opinion on it is Mario will kind of be you'll know by the end of this year whether Switch is successful or not.
Absolutely.
And I think
by Christmas 2017.
It's going to be Mario whether that's
Mario will be the big one, and if Mario is superb and everyone's like, this is the greatest thing in the world ever, then hopefully by that year, because then of course you're going to have a bunch of kids that are going to try and get one for holiday that year, which will help the sales, which will boost developer support.
But how much does
but it's sales? How can it survive the year?
And will it because
to be fair, the one thing I was really kind of pumped about was they're releasing it very quickly.
March 3rd. So
very shocked by that.
I can't remember if I was texting you, but I might have just put it on Facebook or something, or Twitter, and I was like, March 3rd, $299, off to a good start.
Yeah.
And then after that I stopped, and I was like, fuck. Because then they talked about Joy-Con and all this shit.
I thought it might have been $249. I was kind of surprised it was $299.
I wasn't, just because of what the rumors had been. Because the reason $299
if you add in everything else, though, then it's way more.
The reason $299 doesn't surprise me is because they have room then to cut it down during holidays.
Because you have your $299, and then you have, like you said, these spare accessories, extra controller, extra this, that, and the other. Ends up being a $400 or $500 console.
But it does come with the Joy-Cons. It comes with the dog head. It comes
one
with,
set.
Yes.
Yeah,
understandable.
But they're saying like this is for multiplayer. And, plus,
but it's talking
games are $60.
A lot of the multiplayer they're talking about is not.
Are they bundling anything in with it default?
Nope, no pack-in game.
There you go. That's another thing that the Wii had, which was even if you didn't buy any other games, you could still play Wii Sports.
No other console launch. When it comes, like if you look at Xbox One, you look at PlayStation 4, neither of them had one.
No, but they don't need it.
But that's then putting Nintendo in a different category, because I feel like Nintendo doesn't necessarily need a pack-in game, but I think the only reason they would have a pack-in game is for proof of concept, because they do these weird gimmicky.
That's what I'm saying, is that Nintendo to me are in a different category to Xbox and PlayStation. PlayStation and Xbox are proven. Nintendo right now, especially with this console, completely unproven.
Yeah.
You need to prove it, and to prove it, you need to say, okay, try 1-2 Switch, even if it's just 1-2 Switch, just one of those I guess it's like gimmicky,
PSVR
perfect
with
show
the demo
off.
disc
Exactly.
of like here's small things.
Exactly. PSVR when it came out. It was like, here's your demo disc, here's your
the big
version
bundle,
VR Worlds or whatever.
Well, that's if you got the big bundle.
True, but still, it was a nice kind of idea, and it was like, here are all your proof of concepts. Eat it and like it or don't. And if Nintendo did something like that, it would definitely help, because people are going to feel so pressured to not only spend the $300, but then to spend everyone's going to buy Zelda on day one, and then
60.
and then that's so you're already at 360, and then the extra controllers, if you want extra controllers, are what you said, 80
for the Pro controller.
So add that, 80 for the Pro if you wanted that instead, especially if you're playing Zelda. You're probably going to want a decent controller.
I don't know, and I probably should have looked this up, but I don't know if they sell the dog head separately. If you can buy another dog head controller.
If I've learned anything from Nintendo, probably not. I know that you can't buy the gamepad separately for the Wii U, because I was looking at that for a while. Yeah. Which just blew my mind that you couldn't buy that. It's like, what if it broke? No, you're fucked.
And you send it in and hope for the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't do that. But,
all right. Well, I think we should probably wrap up our Switch coverage and move on to kind of what is common.
Yeah.
So what is common?
I really don't know what's coming. Today, as of recording this, the new Overwatch Year of the Rooster is out, so I'm going to be playing some Overwatch here in the next few days and getting some rooster skins.
We have started playing Borderlands on our Sunday stream. We probably will switch that up a little bit, but it's worth saying that that's a game that's been thrown in the mix now, and people seem to be enjoying it.
We got I got Dead Island.
Dead Island.
Yeah. I was like, that's all we
Payday.
Payday we picked up.
That was like $5 on that recent flash sale. That was a good deal. So we'll be playing a little bit of that maybe.
I got Order 1866, so I'm going to play that. That probably won't make it on the channel, but I just wanted to play that.
Everyone's pretty much been waiting for that to go to $5-10. So I think that they're actually going to get some good sales out of that being at that price range.
Which kind of sucks. It took this long.
It does, but at least everyone gets to experience it now. So
yeah, there's not really much happening next week in my world. Like I said, I'm excited for later on this spring is what I'm looking forward to. Let's be honest. For Honor is the next. I guess Horizon is the next big game I'm excited for. Or what? No. Is Horizon before For Honor? For Honor is Valentine's Day.
They're right about the same.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
So For Honor is the one I've kept my eye on because I played the alpha. I've gotten into, or I'm assuming I'm getting into the beta because I got in both alphas because Ubisoft loves me, which is awesome. So I'm hoping to get that game potentially. I'm waiting to see just because it has a couple questions, but then Horizon's coming out, and let's be honest, April is the one I'm most excited about because ukulele.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Horizon. I'm kind of tentatively excited. I'm going to wait and see some reviews on it before I pick it up. Obviously, one of my bigger games came out today, and I got to experience it today, which was great. Which was
Barbie and her sisters.
Oh no, which was Resident Evil 7, of course. And I've never been the biggest Resident Evil fan. Like I always enjoyed it because I played the first game through, and I have some fond memories. And the fourth game, had some fond memories of playing that through with buddies and stuff, and so I've always been a fan. I've played every one.
I've played exactly 0 of them.
But this one really is a whole other ball game, and that just being that legitimate purchase for the PSVR has made me super pumped and super happy about it.
That's what I'm hoping. 2017 is the year PlayStation
Year VR
gets their units out there and fixes whatever the hell's been going on with their supply.
Yeah.
And B gets
it's partially artificial demand, I would think.
I don't know for sure. We don't know for sure, but the rumor's been they've had some issues with the display.
The lenses?
Yeah. So getting that figured out. But
plus this Dirt Rally's getting that VR update here pretty soon.
The sad part right now is with VR, there's not much else to get excited for that I know of.
Oh, there's plenty coming.
I mean, there will be, but we don't know about.
Well, that's kind of that's almost a fun thing about it to me is that every week I look at the PlayStation Store and there's just like there'll be like a random game drop. I'm like, oh shit! Like, I had no idea that was coming to VR, and those are exciting. Like we saw that like Moto Racer 4 today. We were like, what the fuck is this? Like, no idea what that was, or that it had any VR elements.
Which is good and bad. It's bad. I mean, Sony's not marketing it very well considering there's only one game coming out.
But that's true. But at the same time, it's a pleasant surprise.
I want ukulele in VR.
Yeah, I don't know if that would work.
That wouldn't work.
Yeah, I mean, unless they did it like tethered, where it was kind of like you were looking at the world in kind of God mode or whatever. But I don't think that would work for a platformer.
No.
But it remains to be
That
seen.
was just me saying I wanted another VR game.
I have a Kickstarter going for Agony, which is a game where you go through hell, or
Sounds awesome.
the best video game depiction of hell ever made is what they're claiming, and that's going to be in full VR now because they reached the stretch goal for VR, and so I am a backer of that, and I will get that.
So for when they say VR, PSVR, or did they just say VR?
PSVR.
Okay.
And
because that's the concern I have is that a lot of games are VR.
Yeah. No, it's all of them, I think,
not.
but definitely PSVR was in the mix there.
Yeah, I'm excited for Dirt Rally to be VR. I've got that game. I don't play the game that often. I suck at it.
I haven't even tried to play it vanilla yet, but as you can see, my VR shelf is growing a little bit there. I've been picking them up left, right, and center. I got Werewolves
I need to play that game.
and I got the Dirt Rally. I got Trackmania Turbo. I have officially more VR games than I have regular games
physically
at this point. Yeah, physically and probably digitally too. So yeah,
I don't. I'm still playing The Division.
Yeah.
And stuff.
I mean, dude, if you're into it, you're into it.
Oh, that's what I'm looking forward to. Last Stand. They released the trailer for it. They haven't given a date yet, but that's coming out.
What?
The last DLC for Division.
Oh, okay.
And rumor has it, this will be the last thing I say, but rumor has it that either one of two things will be announced at E3. One, they're either going to do Division 2, which I would be all on board because of how much I played this game, or two, they're going to do what they did with Rainbow Six Siege and make Division basically Season 2, which I would not have an issue with because there's so many story elements they didn't touch that I feel like they could, and the foundation of that game is broken as it's been. It's still a solid foundation to build that off of, and I would still, partially because I wouldn't have to start the fuck over.
I wonder if they're going to do a similar thing with Destiny as well, whether it's time to do Destiny 2, because they said they were going to support it for 10 years.
Yeah.
Which I immediately called bullshit on. But, I mean, they've been doing it.
Like I said, Ubisoft did the... What makes me excited is because Ubisoft did it with Rainbow Six Siege, so it's like, okay, similar game, Tom Clancy, do it with these guys. And I would
also, there's that, what's that game that they ended the conference with, the zombie game? Do you remember what it's called?
Ubisoft?
No, the Sony conference. It was like a zombie game where there was like a million zombies on screen at the same time.
Days Gone.
Days Gone.
Yeah, I don't care about zombie games. I was going to say Ubisoft ended with Steep because I remember here's a new IP. I was like, fuck.
That was fucking
garbage. Ubisoft also has Fractured Butthole. Still isn't out. That's another one I'm looking forward to this
Bringing
year.
it back to the beginning of the podcast
Fractured
with
Butthole
Shitterman. Was it Shitterman?
Citrus. Get it right. Shitterman.
Shitterman.
That's what you have cinnamon.
Shitterman.
Dude, that would burn.
Shitterman Toast Crunch.
The taste you can shit.
Oh God.
God, this is...
All right, let's wrap. It's been a little bit of a short one today.
Hey, yo, Tom, I'm rapping my way out because you said let's rap.
I hate myself.
You said let's rap.
I hate you more.
Do you?
I played Parappa earlier today.
Parappa the Rapper?
Kick, punch. You'll have to play it. It's so fun.
I have the demo.
Yeah, that's what I have. Yeah, it's fun.
But anyways, I would love to hear your guys' opinion on Switch. What was your initial reaction? What was your kind of...
Also, the Women's March.
Yes.
Let's not forget that, because that was an important part of this podcast. Yeah. What do you think about
that? Was like an hour ago. I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's political and shit, but like, the Women's March and Switch. Why not bundle those two things in together as a talking point?
Could you switch between the Switch and the Women's March? That was a real bad thing.
I'm so fucking tired.
Yeah, it's run a little bit late.
This is why we don't record podcasts at the end of the day.
Dude,
usually.
I was having a giggle fit before we started.
I know.
I was just losing it because of citrus. But anyways.
Love you guys.
Thank you guys for watching. We do videos Monday through Friday and streams on Sunday. Follow us on Twitter, YouTube,
all the things.
Facebook, Instagram.
Level 2 Gamers, wherever you're at, you'll find us. Level 2 Gamers STL.
Yes, Level 2 Gamers STL or level2gamers.com if you want to go find us on YouTube's.
Join in the chat, join in the fun, and let us know what you think about anything. We're very open to feedback, and also we reply to every comment we're ever sent. We cannot promise that'll be that way forever, but, as of right now, pretty engaged.
You're engaged. I'm not. I'm single.
Fair enough.
Hey-o. I
got my pants on. I got things to do. You got to go spray some citrus over your car on the way home. Thank you guys for watching. If you're on the Vidcast, listening, and if you're on iTunes or
if you're on iTunes, do rate and rate and subscribe us. Rate and subscribe on iTunes. We really do appreciate it. And thanks for watching, guys.
And as always,
Welcome to the second level.
Bye.
That was a shit show.
It ain't no game, but they saying welcome to the second level.